My name is Marie Garza, and I am the principal of Albany Park Multicultural Academy, a 7th and 8th grade only middle school in the Albany Park neighborhood. This morning, I want to talk to you about our opportunity to reimagine time, especially for our English language learners. English language newcomers, we want them to experience building strong relationships with their peers and with their teachers to increase their confidence and engagement in school so that they can be academically on track and have good attendance. When we started this, we were looking at data around students who were off track, and we found that male students were more often off track. So we started by talking to male students. Then we looked at diverse learners, and we saw less engagement from our diverse learners, so we talked to them. When we talk to our English language learners, we talk to those who are both newcomers, new to the country, never been in school in the United States before, and those who have been in school for many years. Finally, we knew that teacher voice was also a really important part of this process. When we reviewed all our data, we found trends. Students come to school to see their friends. They don't get to see them after school. They either go home to babysit or their parents don't feel that it's safe enough for them to be out in the neighborhood. Students talked about wanting different classes, something more than reading, writing, and math. Students know that they need to learn English and they want to learn English. Students talk a lot about how they enjoyed playing video games and liked those similar opportunities in class, especially like with STEM and robotics. Students know their teachers care about them, and teachers know that students need individual attention. When we did these interviews, we used an overarching question: what is school like for you? We started to think, how might we bring some of the learning opportunities we offer after school into the school day? And how can these opportunities support our newcomers to help them feel like they belong and give them more interaction with their peers? Exploration hour, a 5-week class that meets 4 hours a week. Instead of calling it intervention or enrichment, because no middle schooler wants to be in intervention, instead of us determining what intervention or enrichment students should have, let's give students a voice in their learning. Let's give them the opportunity to choose their class. Let's give teachers the opportunity to share their talents and passions with students in a different way. Let's support our newcomers in a way that treats them similarly to their English-speaking peers while supporting their English acquisition. Success looks like students creating performance tests for the culmination of the 5-week session. Success looks like the exploration committee responding to suggestions that are made by teachers and students through the surveys that we collect. Success sounds like students talking to their peers using both their native language and their acquired English. Success feels like students' voices matter and that their suggestions for exploration improvement are honored. All of our artifacts are Google Docs based, which makes them really easy for teachers and students to use. Templates for teachers to plan, those had to be easy to increase teacher buy-in and not make it feel overwhelming. Templates for student presentations so that students had an outline of how they might share their learning. The templates to create survey forms, and using Google Forms is so nice because it automatically creates those spreadsheets that can easily be sorted. We want to use our funding to include vendors in our exploration offerings, to purchase supplies for stamp making and Legos to improve inquiry and hands-on opportunities, and for sharing of learning at the end of the 5-week session. Healthy snack recipes, printing of pictures, raffle prizes, things like that. We learned so much through this process, from starting with male students off track to moving to English language learners. We know that student need is ever changing, and our responses have to be ever changing. We thought we would do it one way, but we really looked at the interviews and found a better way. Success is messy, not linear. It takes time, and it needs a cheerleader to keep reminding us of what's best, doing what's best for students. We saw buy-in increase when our stakeholders saw implementation of their feedback. Students were so happy to participate in a class that was not graded, and they participated. They made some amazing things and showcased their learning. Imagine every student creating their learning path. Thank you.
Right on time. Okay, judges, this is now your Q&A time.
Thank you. One of the things I wanted to say is I really like the focus on relationships and relationship building, because that social emotional component I think is so important as a foundation for academic success. And I appreciate the insights that you gained from your interviews and talking with students. I wanted to I wasn't clear on who leads the class and how people are selected for the class, and I also wasn't clear on how you're defining newcomer. Is that a newcomer to the country or a newcomer to the school? Yeah.
So all of our staff is offering an exploration. So every student is getting to participate in some exploration. So we were able to target one or two of our explorations for our newcomer students. And those are students who have just arrived in the country, speaking no English, and most of them having very limited formal education outside of the United States. So essentially they get some choice in their exploration, but they're doing the same thing as their general education peers, and their classes also include some of their general education peers, so that they're not
sequestered off.
Yes,
as a separate group.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I had a question about the success outcomes, and could you talk a little bit about how you arrived at those, and if actually they're going to be more specific than what you communicated here? So when we originally designed, one of the things that we spent a lot of time talking about is it's a non-graded class, right? So we had to check our assumptions around, will students work if they don't get an A, B, C, D, F? And we talked about the class being inquiry-based. So every class has a performance-based outcome. So in Japanese class, then their final part of their project is speaking in Japanese. So what we're pushing for is shifting to the students creating that final, the teachers originally created a performance task for the end. We'd like to shift it to the students more creating that performance task. So our first group of English language learners, they did a tour of Chicago. So they were given a budget and they had to plan for 4 days for staying in Chicago, hotels, food, the sites that they would see. And so in those outcomes, we're looking for students to be driving their instruction more, and for them to be communicating it, not within a small sphere, but outside of that sphere as well. And the other big factor has been so much back and forth of talking, especially with COVID, we had to change up groups at one point because of, needing to be in pods. So much of the survey collecting and responding to the surveys. People take a survey, they want to know, kids take a survey, they want to know that they've been heard. So, did you like your class? What would make it better? Teachers, what would make the performance task better? A lot of that back and forth has really helped us. And we've been able to go more specific, like with student needs, but still giving student choice.